lunch at you know, um, a Michelin hot dog stand. They don't. They don't.
An out of work Michelin
Exactly.
chef
Nope, they
opened
don't.
a hot dog stand. What,
And
$20 hot dogs?
nope. Yeah, there was $599 hot dog. I'm with a dear friend, and we're sharing a meal, and I've got my sacred French fries with me,
Yeah.
and we're at my favorite place, and these were the fresh pressed kind, right? Like
Oh yeah.
that's my favorite, right? And they're sacred, right? I always say, a few things in life are sacred, quoting a TV show, among them a man's fries. And so as we ate the French fries, my friend decided to drop the truth bomb on me that, these aren't actually made. They were never created by the French. And I didn't believe him. He's often sarcastic. So I dug my heels in. Like, I know pizza wasn't created nor pasta by the Italians. It's
Right.
my lineage. If he'd have said that, I went along. But I knew this was sarcastic. And by the way, this was 18 months ago. So this is very embarrassed. And I went home and I researched it. I came to learn that actually the Belgium that created French fries in the 1680s. Actually, potatoes 1748 to 1772 were illegal in France. So the French fries would have been even legal to eat during. Not only didn't they.
Oh my gosh, I learned so much today. And it makes our whole calling the thing freedom fries so ridiculous now that can I stop you right there? Because I think my head just exploded a little bit. So we've got the CEO of major or even mid-level organizations, and you're telling me they don't know what the hell's going on?
I'm telling you that you go two levels down, the people who are actually, because the CEO role, if you
Right.
look at it, is that you certainly have the ability to make decisions, but you're doing that through a team of people often, and you hire some of the best people to put around you. There's different personality profiles that engage in the position, but you're also in the market, you're raising money, you're giving speeches. There's a different role that exists
Right.
for the CEO than most expect that the job is. But the CEO is still, the buck stops there, and the CEO is still setting pace for where the organization is going to go. And as you sit in the boardroom, you're getting a story. And there's people that have been in careers for a long time, and you've been doing this for a while, and I've watched your astute ability to process the details about what's happening around you. The story isn't always the reality of what's really happening. And data and statistics, we know, can absolutely be manipulated all of the time. So yes, the obtaining the right information is critical. So what does that mean? It means the people that you put in place. And because this change is not a step change, and your leadership a step below the CEO, they're under turmoil at this point as well. They're not just leading and bringing people to the next place, and it's a little bit unknown. It's totally and completely unknown. So what drives that? Often fear and other emotions. So making certain that the folks that are at that next level have the appropriate character in order to bring the organization to where we need to go is critical. And the reason that's important is that who's actually doing the work. Right? We
Right.
know
Right.
that
Right.
it's
Right.
those engineers
Yes.
attracting and bringing in that and keeping that talent is critical. So you need to make certain that we're developing an environment that will support the change, that will bring forward their ideas, that will support and help them grow. And we're doing that also with a whole new generation of people. Right. So the first is the concept of change or entropy. Both of these are the things that actually are the catalyst of stress for people. Unknown is what the catalyzer of stress. Now, if you choose to engage in something that's unknown, that's actually an energizer and develops curiosity, and positive energy develops from it. So that's a behavior that we want to support.
Right.
Right. But if you don't choose to, and it's put on you, um, the stress develops typically a fear response. So that's the
Mm.
first concept is change, and change is happening everywhere, and it's happening actually quicker than it's happened in the past, and it actually is happening quicker. I won't bore everyone with research on it, but we'll just say it's increasing
Yep.
in rate, right? It's not slowing down. So every year it's quicker and quicker. There's actually a curve that they've developed where at the knee of the curve it's turned near straight up at this point. Okay, so change is the first. The second, if you and we'll go academic for just a moment, there was a Russian psychologist, Lev, and I forget his last name. It was like Vygotsky or so, and he developed what's called the zone of proximal development. Uh,
Mm.
and he basically identified that there's this, and we've talked about it in business, there's this place of challenge at which you're growing, there's stress, but positive stress,
Right.
and you actually get the best value out of it. So the goal is, how do we get to this place where we're not stressing people to the point at which they shut down, but to a point at which there's growth. And one
Mm.
of the key elements, so everyone gets that, but the piece that folks forget is that within the zone of proximal development, the critical step is to be providing support and training, mentoring, and leadership. And the issue that exists today is that if our leaders are going through change that they're uncertain about, they're not able to even provide that often. So there's this missing ingredient that exists. Now, if they process it, they
Right.
push into what they process their feelings, right? I long ago was taught the principle of lead as it relates to feelings. Listen to them, examine them, and then you make a decision. Don't let the feeling make a decision for you. So if our leaders are actually engaging in that and they realize, hey, there's uncertainty, they can actually bring it back and collaborate with the team and pull back the onion on uncertainty. There's folks that are on the team, multiple minds together,
Right.
engaged in solving something, actually makes you more powerful.
There's a couple of things I jotted down. I think this whole part of I never connected the dots that in our typical hierarchical world where the most senior people are driving the change, ironically, it's the most new early in career folks who are probably closer to the change, more comfortable with the change, understand a little bit better. And while we have some lanes of communication, I think we may have been stunting ourselves the whole time if you are not thoughtful about this. If you are handing the keys to your future to someone who is scared out of their minds,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine, without arming them with the other tools and collaboration to make that. I think that part really resonated with me.
And look, they're
If
scared in a bold way, right? Most of these folks
Yes,
don't come across as scared.
right.
They come across like they have all of the ideas, and that's actually the piece that becomes the red flag, right? Leaders need to be able to, in contrast, develop foster a teamwork environment, support people's ideas, because they have to develop trust. If you're taking the ideas, right,
Right.
in building your career, you're not actually building a team that has trust and will collaborate, right? So yes, you'll be there for a long time probably, and they then build this positive engine in order to innovate, and that's really what we're trying to do. And that there's something a bit selfless in that, in order to get to adding value at that level. Now here's the thing, right? Let's not forget the white elephant in the room, because the leaders are also have a competing interest within the organization to manage reputation, their influence, power, right? And all the levers that enable them to continue to lead. So there's different hats they need to wear. They need to decide in a wise way how to craft so that they can both support the folks on their team, but also manage their career appropriately. These exist. It cuts both directions. I was enjoying this. I think what I'll leave folks with maybe ties back to some of what we talked about. There's a book that I read as we consider next steps about leadership and how do I manage myself. There was a book called The Anatomy of Peace by the
Anatomy
Arbinger
of peace.
Institute, right? And
Okay.
the Arbinger Institute was developed by a guy from, I believe, Israel and another guy from, I think it was Pakistan. And either way, they were from warring regions. They have interesting backgrounds. And they created this institute to push peace. They're actually pushing peace these days. But they have this institute to help families and relationships, but they're doing it on a global level as well. And the book talks about how every thought that we process as we engage interpersonally with people, we come at it with a heart of conflict or war, or a heart of peace, and how we can actually process, we choose how we think, and then invite people by the words we use into peace. Even
Mm.
in fact, we're engaging in conflict, we can do so in even the hardest conflicts at a heart of peace. Incredibly profound. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow. That's a good place to leave it. And I'm going to check out that book. Joe, this has been awesome. And to our listeners and viewers, until next time, take care of yourself. And if you can, each other. You've been listening to an Amos Talks production.